Hello YouTube, Runick's YGO here. Happy to announce my second stage DC Cup for 2024 December. That we made it to top 10,000 at one point, but unfortunately we dropped a bit because towards the weekend, the holidays happened and we dropped a little bit out of it. But I'm just really proud to have been able to make it in the top 10,000 at one point. That's okay to me. We can always get it next time, but knowing that, we can definitely do it with Runick's. So for this Duelist Cup, I played White Forest Runick. The deck was really fun to play. It worked really well. If you guys need a deck profile as to what was played in terms of ratios, go check out my other video. Link I'll put down on the description. Just to see what I play, or check out my past live streams just to see how the deck goes. But I've gotten a few requests that want me to go do play-by-plays as to how I play White Forest Runick, and not just a speed of it, and just to explain my mindset. Now with White Forest Runick, the best definition I can explain what it is. White Forest Runick is a deck that recycles the spells and traps to interrupt your opponent and either go for lethal or deck out. White Forest engine is an engine that will recycle spells and traps that can be used to interrupt your opponent. And the Runick is to draw and also interrupt your opponent. So they are definitely parallel and very conveniently together to make this deck happen. Let me know in the comment section if you enjoy this type of content. I'd love to do more breakdowns. If I make any mistakes too, in your guys' opinion, let me know as well. It'll definitely help me out. And well, I would want to hope I played the deck correctly because of my results and how far I've gotten in this cup. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's go. I have about 11 replays to show you, and I just want to show my mindset, how I play the deck, what's going on in my mind. Now before we go into replays, I just wanted to break down the structure of this video. There are 3 chapters. The first chapter is basically ideal hands going first and how you typically want to play. Chapter 2 will be going second and how you should interact with your opponent. And lastly, third option, situationally, the unfavorable part is not having the ideal hand or any starters and playing from there. In addition, this will always be your end board that you're gonna try to go to. So in this photo, you 9 times out of 10 want to end on this board having a Runick card down, Yubel, Woes, and reframing. You can really make this board and have a lot of interruption. And again, that's not including Runick cards that may be in the grave or in your hand that maybe you could recycle later. The more favorable board, just pretend there's no hand traps or Runick cards. The cards that should be in your turn 1 play, assuming everything goes right, is Fountain on the field, Yubel, Woes, reframing, and a Synchro 10, depending on what you need. Typically it's going to be Baron, so you have more interruptions. So for this first replay, we are dueling Purley. And the formula, the way you should be playing this, we have a starter in our hand. And you always typically need, once you have a starter, you typically need at least 2 spell or traps to go into full combo to discard. That's why you need to play a lot of spells and traps for this deck to work. As for this first combo, in my mind, having 2 maxis kind of sucks, but assuming we're gonna have to play through a hand trap, I need Sylvie to get hand trap because Runick is gonna be the discarder because we can go to Synchro 6 with this hand. If I go Hugin first, I would have to discard and it gets negated, and I want Fountain because that's an extra spell or trap. So for this hand, I want Fountain. So the first thing that happened, I normal to try to add a spell or trap, and it gets Vaylantz. So I just chain to summon Hugin. This really has to go through, because if not, we are really boned here if this gets negated. This would probably be a choke point for sure. So I discard Maxi because we have 2 copies and we got Fountain. We synchro into Rusilla. Effective Rusilla, discard Woes to get Elzet. Effective Woes, once discard, you can set it. Elzet discards Fountain. That's exactly why we need 2 to 3 spells or traps, because this wouldn't have worked if it wasn't for that. Then we have enough to synchro to 8. Yubel grabs my Fountain back. Play Fountain. And then I summon Rushia. Now, every time we get to Yubel, we'll almost always have Sylvie and Rushia either on the field or graveyard. That is free to go into the Visa's Amitara. So I summon them, and this can be summoned. Remember, this only takes 1 tuner and 1 light monster. So they're both 2 tuners. Typically we would need a non-tuner to synchro, but that's exactly why we love Visa Starfrost. Or, yes, Visa. And we set, again, ideally this is supposed to be your board. We have at least 1 Omni Negate, 1 Interruption here. Yubel could go into any Synchro 10s by going into Formula Synchron and going into either Baron de Fleur or Qingying. So that's 2, and then 3 being Woes. So seeing my opponent, they play, I just Maxi. And as they're doing their plays, you have to choose what's proper to when to negate, because based off timing, Woes will be your win condition. So they're doing Purley things, searching for their starter, or their plays. And as they're doing that, I see their starter. So at this point, I want to interrupt them because they're gonna try to XYZ in my mind. We are sending Fountain here because these 2 are your interrupter. So we have to keep that. Now Fountain, we don't have any Runick cards, so we're just gonna have to send it to the graveyard for cost. And also just chain here because they're gonna try to summon. At the same time, very important thing that you have to do in this deck, when you summon Woes, you need it in order to go level 6. You have to chain a level 4, either Rushia or Sylvie from the grave if you don't have one in the field already, to synchro summon. So as I'm doing that, I just want to interrupt my opponent. And we go into Silvera again. And Formula Synchron. So we are thankful we can chain block here. Silvera can always chain block with LZ in the graveyard effect. And then we set everything face down. So it's our turn. I normal summon LZ and I go back into Yubel to get back my Fountain. So that's why this deck can really recycle your spells and traps. Get place back Fountain, Synchro into Qingying because we have Runick Slumber. Target Qingying, banish 3, effective Qingying, and Runick Fountain to draw 2 and banish 1 card in the field and grave. I also use the effect of Sylvie to send it back and just keep continuing to summon. Stellar comes out. I synchro into Baron. Pop spell. We could still keep going here. We go into synchro climbing into Tri-Edge. Affect the Tri-Edge to draw. And then you could still synchro those two, Sylvie and Tri-Edge, into Chaos Angel. This, ideally, is going to be your trio, your boss trios that you want on the field online. And just go for lethal. I think he just attacked because I think they knew it, so. And yeah, this is very consistent to do, of course, assuming you don't get interrupted. So ideally, this is how you play a turn 1. Let's go to the next duel. So for the second duel, we are fighting a 60-pile Orcust deck. Now, with this hand, in my mind, I want LZ to not be negated. So we're gonna go with Runick cards to first go and get baited, because we could just discard a Stellar and still pop off and go full combo. My opponent... My mistake, we do get interrupted. So the reason this works, a Stellar is just amazing being sent to the graveyard, because you'll see how they can come back from such an early part of the game. So yes, Hugin does get negated, and because we have at least 2 spells and traps, we can make this combo work. So we special summon LZ, effect to get Sylvie, we still have our normal summon. In addition, because we used an effect to send to the graveyard a spell or trap from a monster effect, you could special summon a Stellar. So that's free fodder right there. Sylvie gets woes, and then we can just synchro into Rusilla. Searching our deck for tails. And yeah, we're just full combo here, going into our synchro 8. Getting Dispelling, just in case I don't get Fountain out, I can rip a card. We discard a Stellar, and we retry to get Fountain. And yes, we are full combo here. We will just synchro into Amitara. Then Baron. First turn. So for this going first, we have two Omni Negates. Going into a Synchro 10 with Diabell, either Chaos Angel or Qingying, and Woes. So we have at least 4 interruptions here in this matchup. So Orcust goes in. I just send Fountain to the grave just because, again, we don't have any more Runick cards. So we're just gonna end up, sending it. I want to negate with Baron here because I don't want him to draw his out, because he already has 3 cards left. But he goes for this push, and that's when I'm forced to use Reframing to counter trap and stop this chain negating droplet, thus letting me negate Maxi and having these cards on the field. Stellar's effect chains with Formula Synchron. We go into Chaos Angel to banish. They have 1 card left, but they draw an amazing card, or play the amazing card Grass Looks Greener, discard their whole deck, half their deck, and this is just basically how they can keep going. I'll just go through their plays and we'll go in our edge board and see how much we can interrupt. At this point, I try summoning or to interrupt my opponent, but they use Black Goat Laughs, and I won't be able to use Silvera's effect due to that. So we used all our interruptions here. Do keep in mind, Chaos Angel, we use 2 light monsters to summon it. So we only have the effect that synchro monsters are unaffected by monster effects. But yes, they pop off. So, seeing that card, they have an Omni negate, by the way. So when I read that card that they set, where did it go? I knew I had to pop it, so here it is. So when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, while you control an Orcust Link monster, negate the activation and banish it. So on their turn, I just summon both my level 4s. I try to bait, and yes, they take the bait and banish my Baron. But we can still go into full combo here. Normal summon LZ here. Go into Tri-Edge. I draw 1 and Qingying. I was trying to go for the banishment, but they used the effect to keep it alive. Like this monster. So knowing that, I set Imperm intentionally on the same column and have them go. At this point, I don't know much about Orcust, so I just go for anything to just try to negate. This has 0 materials, so I thought it'd be okay. After this, they just scoop. Now, this replay is against Yubel. And yes, we do go first. We have reframing in our hand. So, ideally, I'll show you... You could still go into Amitara and go into synchro plays, but sometimes you could play a little bit different from your extra deck and synchro climb by, if you have the right cards in your hand, to go into Tri-Edge and then having either Sylvie or Rucia into synchro 10s, typically. So for this first round, I believe since we have a bunch of spells and traps, we are going to start off with Sylvie, because if this gets negated, we still have our Runick cards to fall back under. Summon Hugin to discard evenly, because we are going first. Synchro into Rusilla. Rusilla effects and woes. Have LZ. Set woes. LZ sends reframing. We will get reframing back. Go into Diabel to grab reframing. Set it. Special. So, now for this, because we have a Runick card and we haven't used Fountain, we are going to go for a different play this time. Draw 2. I go into Tri-Edge and then go into Baron. So this is very similar to the last replay, but because we have reframing in our hand already, there's no point of going into Amitara. It does end up being the same thing, but the thing is, with Tri-Edge, we draw 1. So for this board, we have a lot of interruption. We have Baron. We have reframing. That's 2 Omni negates. an Imperm, a Woes to set everything down, and Diabell that could go into either Chaos Angel or Chingying, not including Runick cards. So that is a total of 7 disruption. This is pretty godboard status here. So my opponent here plays spirits. I chain, destroy, because we have tip. I wasn't too afraid. I go very aggressive to rip cards from their opponent's hand and go for dispelling. They draw their starter. I play, and they end up quitting. Just because they are playing in a pretty oppressive board here. So chapter 2, we are now showing replays going second. We want to show replays going second because ideally you want to go first with this deck. But, you know, you can't always win the coin flip. And with this going second hand, we are actually fighting Tearlaments. And with this, I said to myself, obviously we have evenly. So we're gonna just try to hope our opponent pops off. And our opponent does. When I saw this, I knew it was Tearlament. So our opponent tries to fusion summon here, and that's when I go into Maxi, or use Maxi, and we draw. They sort of play the Maxi challenge here. And this is exactly why we play 2 evenly matches. I personally think that's a pretty healthy ratio. You can always play more, but I personally think 2 is enough. So for this play, I go to battle phase to try to interrupt our opponent, just in case they interrupt evenly. So destroying things, comes back. I actually want to share, I did misplay here. I read this as thinking they can negate an effect, any effect, but it's only to special summon a monster. So I was so fixated on trying to get rid of it. That's when we evenly. And our opponent chains, and then they quit. So evenly literally just won us that match. We still had full combo. I don't know how it would have went though. Duel number 5, we are fighting White Forest Centurion. Another good example going second. This time we have no evenly, but we do have a lot of interruption here. Seeing how it goes, I saw Toybox and automatically knew White Forest. With a hint of Snake Eyes. I then Imperm and they end. I end up drawing evenly. And during the draw phase, our opponent does Maxi. So I just go for it because we could have went full combo, but we don't want to play on their Maxi. They had 2 cards in their hand, and I thought, hey, let's just risk it. Opponent normal summons Valor and then uses Tails. Gets LZ. Effect. Called by the Grave comes in clutch here. And they already used their normal summon. Last thing they do, they send Tacted Talents, and since they normal summon, they pass here. Now we are full combo here. We normal summon Sylvie, And they just knew it was over with the full combo. Another going second game. We have evenly in our hand. And we are playing against Labyrinth. Seeing this, again, I do misplay in my own mind. It's during the opponent's main phase that set cards cannot be destroyed by card effects. But since we have evenly, I just go into evenly and have them banish everything. I normal summon Sylvie here, but then we get skill drain. So this kind of sucks. And their opponent finally summons Lord of the Heavenly Prison. But since they did that, I thought to myself, now spells and traps can be spells and traps can be negated. We summon Hugin here. I pitch Call by the Grave because I want to draw 3. Now this is my choke point. If they didn't let this go through, I'd probably scoop right here. But we drew 3, and we have spells and traps to discard. Priscilla, synchro into 6. Discard evenly because we used it. We don't need it. Effective Russia, special summon because I'm hoping to have just free draws and hopefully going into level 8. So we summon Hugin again for the second time. Go into Diabell. Diabell, I grab Call by the Grave. I synchro into Amitara. And then just set Reframing and Call by the Grave. Opponent tries to special summon. I sent Call by the Grave because I just thought it's the least useful card in the field right now. Formula Synchron. I Formula Synchron summon Qingying because we have Runick cards to try to banish. Destroyed, and I think they knew they were gonna get outgrinded there. So this is our last duel that we play against Marincesses, and they eat up our hand traps easily. This is the first and our last going second replay without evenly, and just to show you how we did against Marincess. Now I didn't know too much about this deck, just knowing that they have a tower. And again, we have 3 cards left and they're all Runick cards. We don't really have any engine for White Forest, but seeing this field spell and reading it, I knew I had to try to get rid of this first, because their cards are unaffected by opponent's card effect. And they summon a pretty strong tower here. We drew LZ here. And the first thing I do is just have to go for Fountain here. Because this, I don't have enough, I can't afford losing any more spells and traps. Send LZ, or Dispelling to get LZ, or to Sylvie. Opponent weirdly tries to negate Fountain here. I wasn't too sure why, but we would have still been okay in this stage of the game. We summon for Rusilla, send Woes, get Tails, set Woes, summon Hugin, and go to our Synchro 8 after drawing 3. Really good hand. Go into Diabell to grab Imperm. They try to negate the effect by targeting it, A really cool tech thing that can happen with this deck is you can use Sylvie and Rusia to dodge effects. At the same time, I chain Diabell because I knew that it's gonna go in the extra deck, so I can have Formula Synchron out. So in Chain Link 4, I send Diabell back, special summon Sylvie, go into the Silvera here actually, set Tails, and summon Qingying with Gary. Special summon Rusia, and we're still gonna do the Amitara package to get a free Omni Negate. Remember, the most important thing we gotta get rid of is the field spell up here. And since we have Tip, we just go for it. Effect. Chain to destroy it, so now monsters are affected. Really good outplay here. Draw 3, and we have too much interruption. They use Prohibition and just chain reframing to just negate it.
Negate!
They still try to get back or try to special summon. So we are actually sending Silvera back just to summon it again. Set all cards face down. Effect, when it's destroyed, they target their field spell and they just quit. Just because I had Slumber in my hand to still mill and banish. So this replay is not part of the DC Cup. I just wanted to showcase it just because I realized I didn't have that many Tenpai matchups. So I wanted to show how I played this matchup. And a little toxic, I actually don't end my opponent. I kind of because they were in their promos and they weren't gonna give up, and I will force them to. So for this matchup, I wanted to discard a Stellar, and we have full combo here. So we just go on the Hugin here. Effect the Hugin, discard a Stellar. Fortunately, we get Bestialed. So I maxed in assuming it's Tenpai. So at least we get to draw one. I draw one and it's Dispelling. So this is a pretty good hand, and we're still going full combo. You'll see why I don't Ash here in a bit. I get Woes, Synchro to Rusilla, pitch Woes, grab LZ, effective Woes, set it, effective LZ, throw Dispelling, Rusia, go into Diabell, grab Dispelling, go Rusia and Sylvie, send back Rusilla into Amitara, grabs Reframing, set. So they grab to their hand Chandra. I rip a card and it's Chandra. Effect, draw 2. A pretty good hand. I shotgun Maxi here. They call by the grave. That's where I let Maxi go, and I just use Slumber here because, you know what, I just need to draw. They have 4 cards left in their hand. And we draw Imperm. They Super Poly, which is unfortunate. Go to Mud Dragon. Effect of Fadra. This is choke point. If they get Chandra, I knew I was gonna lose. So remember, you must always, when you use the woes and you don't have any cards in the field, you have to summon either Rusia or Sylvie. Send Diabell back. Synchro into Silvera in defense position. Chandra is on the field. I flip everything face down and chain with LZ to block. Chain block. They try to draw 2. I Ash Blossom that. Because I don't want them to get their out. Or 1 card combo maybe. They flip Bestial, destroy. Sylvie effect. For next turn. I drew Tails, which was pretty lucky. LZ pitched Tails. Grabbed Sylvie. Tails set. Normal summon Sylvie. Have another Woes. Synchro into Tri-Edge. Tri-Edge. Draw 1. Go into Baron. Destroy Chandra. Set 2. They flip. They try to use Genroku. I have to Baron that, because no way I can bring Chandra here. They go into Hayat. I Imperm. Lastly, they go into Promethean Princess to try to get Chandra still. And I'm reframing that. At that point, they went through all most my interruptions, but they can't swing. Luckily, we actually have Tri-Edge here to go back into Xingying, which was a good recycle. I attack, and now they have no cards in their hand or field. They have 27 cards left. I swing again, and they are in match point. They use Kaiman to get Hydra. Effect of Sangan summoning. I chain with destruction. Destroy. Summon Hydra. I freezing curse it. Negate it. Then I happily get to draw 2 and chain with Xingying. And at this point, they are really locked out. We cannot attack. And they pass. Unfortunately, I could have ended here, but I wanted to be a little evil, and I wanted to deck them out instead. So we go for Slumber. Summon Hugin for protection. And go for Slumber. We got to draw 3 from that. And they pass. Draw another good Slumber. And just draw 1. So we really controlled the game well with this hand. They pass again. And I knew it's over because I had the Runick Dispelling combo. With, Droplet Dispelling combo. where you make them draw. And what's funny, they tried to maxi, which didn't matter. They have 2 cards left, and then Dispelling to get the remaining 2. Draw 2. Had it. Played Called by the Grave just because. Then we're under Maxi, so I use Maxi of my own. And then LZ. And that's just the end of the game. Now, for this match, I believe we are going against Kashtira. And we go first, but ideally this is not a good hand. Tails is a dead card. Maxi is not going to be useful to us. We are really in trouble here. So ideally this is not a good hand. Because if Hugin gets negated here, there's not much we can do. But I play Fountain and unfortunately pass here. This is not ideal. I maxi early because we have Runick. Fountain. So we Freezing Curses to attempt to stop their plays. Banish 3. Effect to draw 2. They play Kashtira Birth, and I didn't want to wait because I didn't know if it was true Kashtira or not. So we destroy 4, or sorry, banish 4. They still continue summoning. I summon Tip to get Flashing Fire. And just try the Flashing Fire because I don't want them to XYZ summon. Attack with my Hugin. Try to destroy Fountain. And my set card. So this sucks because Kashtira Birth came back. But yes, they then play Kashtira Preparation, and I just max C here just because they're gonna special summon. And I'm pretty desperate here. We have full combo, but I'm afraid to play through it. And they have a unicorn in the graveyard, luckily. So I saw that, and I called by the grave it, so then it's the game. We need to get rid of Fenrir. They banish Fountain in this matchup, by the way. This is why this wasn't an ideal play. So I use LZ to go into our combo, summon Sylvie. They rip Sylvie, which I thought I lost. But I'll go into Rusilla here. Effect, and Fountain. Stellar normal summon. Go into Diabell. Diabell gets Destruction, and I want a Destruction their preparations. So all we have in this is Synchro 10 and to set everything face down. I send Woes here. Unfortunately, we won't be able to use Woes, but I wanted to go into, I believe I'm gonna go into Chaos Angel. Because they can't go beat over 3500 and it's unaffected. Banish their Rebirth. They have Big Eye, but they can't use it. So they end up quitting here just because I think I got rid of their back row. That was a really hard game. So again, ideally this hand is not how I want to start, because Rusia is my extender. Stellar, you just want to use its graveyard effect. But we do have 2 spells. Starting off, I normal summon a Stellar here, because having anything... I can't discard anything here with Hugin just to get negated. So a Stellar gets negated here. So I normal special summon Rusia, but then negate Maxi to get Chain Link 2. Synchro into Rusilla here. Rusilla discards Slumber. This is really not ideal because I don't have anything to extend, but thankfully a Stellar's effect still goes through. Diabell grab me the Spelling, just in case I need to rip. Special summon Hugin here. Discard Woes. Special summon Rusia. Set Woes. And we just synchro into Tri-Edge and hope to draw a Runick card, but unfortunately we draw even. So this was a very not ideal hand or to end on due to getting interrupted too much. We really only have 2 interruptions. We have going into Synchro 10, Diabell, and Silvera to Book of Eclipse. Play Preparation of Rites. I sent evenly because I'm not gonna really use that. So I thought I'm boned here. I then synchro into Baron and have Alistair, and they miraculously end. I wasn't sure what their hand was, if it was a dead hand, but I was thankful for it. I go into Qingying here. Effect to send Woe. So Estella really did put in work here. Go back into Rusilla effects and Tails. Grab Elzat. Effect of Stellar. A Stellar is an MVP for this match. The number of times it was summoned, so it got negated. Go into Amitara. Call by the grave that. So now I have full control. I have a 2 Omni negates, Qingying, and to set cards, and then they swing. Now for the last duel, so we don't have any starters, but we still have a decent hand, assuming nothing gets interrupted here. We start off by trying to bait with Hugin. I discard Slumber, and I saw he had no hand traps because nothing lit up. So I went full combo here. But still, ideally this is not your ideal hand. But I drew, summoned a Stellar, sent Spelling. But it ended up working out with those 3 draws and just going with a Stellar. But if it got interrupted, this never would happen. So same thing, Stellar comes back, set Woes, Synchro into Diabell. Diabell, I believe I get Dispelling, that's the only target. Sylvie, send back Priscilla, special, Rusia, special. Amitara out. Reframing. And we are set. We actually go into Chinging here because I was confident that with 1 Omni Negate and 2 Runick cards, we can easily negate. We can easily interrupt our opponent and banish things. So we here in this first turn, we end up having 9 interruptions. Okay, Imperm, Freezing Curses, that's 2 monster negates, Dispelling to rip a card, Ash Blossom, Maxi, Reframing, and we could also go into Baron or Chaos Angel. So our opponent starts, I'm Shotgun Maxi here, they Ash Blossom. I said, you know what, I have to block that because we have Fountain on the board. So you may be wondering yourself, how are you going to use Diabell? You cannot use Diabell until after you use Fountain's effect to draw, because these are too valuable to send to the grave. I negate their fusion attempt. They summon, tries to negate it, so I just Imperm. So at this moment, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions. I Destruction that. And then they scoop, because it was just way too long. So those were my replays for the second stage for the Duelist Cup for 2024 December. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have questions, you guys can always ask in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this, please let me know. I'd love to do more of these, give you my thoughts of how I played the deck and the reasoning of why I do it this way. This is the success that I found with this deck. I truly loved this experience with White Forest. Let me know what you guys think, and till the next video, I'll be playing more White Forest Runick. Let me know what else to play, guys. Other than that, take care. See you on the next video.